Running backs who could jump into RB1 territory this season. This is going to be a fun video, guys. Here are the rules. I'm only looking at veterans because naturally, this is going to be the first time that the rookies will get a shot at it. I am including both half PPR and full PPR, so a guy like Ashton Jeanty did finish as an RB1 in full PPR last season. I know it didn't feel like it, but it did, so that does not count. And the final caveat is that I actually have to believe that you can make that leap into RB1 territory. We will look at players who have not finished as an RB1 in their career thus far, but have a great opportunity to lock in and pay off big in 2026. Some of these names might surprise you. You'll think Tara, he finished as an RB1, but nope. Close, but no cigar. This is in no particular order, not my rankings, just more so vibes of my desire to discuss these guys. And the guy that I really want to talk about here over everybody else is Quinshon Judkins. So that is who we're going to start off with, because if this man has recovered from what was genuinely a nasty, gruesome injury, an RB1 season is extremely realistic. This man is on the field, people. He is on the field. He is cutting. He looks great. He's running plays. I'm no injury expert, but from what I can see on the video and from what actual injury experts are saying, we might not actually need to be concerned at all about his recovery. Now, of course, we will exercise caution, as we always should, with players coming off of significant injuries, because injury recovery isn't uniform, right? It could go terrible, it could go fantastic. We've had running backs come off of major injuries and have amazing seasons, right? Now, caveat, he obviously plays for an objectively bad team, but it is entirely possible that we see the same player we saw in 2025, a player that gave us 4 RB1 weeks despite playing behind a genuinely trash offensive line, flipping through multiple quarterbacks with the only big receiving threat being a rookie tight end. It was not a good situation. The Browns will have a new scheme. They will have new talent. They have new offensive linemen, and by the grace of God, maybe they can figure out how to get strong quarterback play. A girl can dream. But what I do know is that Judkins is a 3-down back who isn't a prolific pass catcher, but he handles checkdowns well enough. It is not a problem, and he can easily handle 20-plus carries on the ground on a regular basis. The big issue, obviously, was the offensive line. Again, I joke about the quarterback play, but really, the offensive line was disturbing. That was the major issue, right? Running backs can work around bad quarterbacks, but you can't if the line is bad. And to the credit of the new regime, they have completely revamped this line. They have added ample talent in terms of receiving options into the receiving corps with rookies. Realistically, I do think those areas will improve. Now, to what degree, I don't know. But that will help open up opportunities for Judkins, especially if this offensive line turns around. If they give him some lanes, he will thrive. Omarion Hampton, this one is very straightforward. Hampton is ranked as an RB1. I have him ranked as an RB1. He should be ranked as an RB1 because he's easily the most likely candidate on this list to finish as a top 12 back. Quite frankly, maybe even a top 5 back. I 100% believe it can happen. Everything will be better for the Chargers in 2026. They will have a healthy offensive line. Obviously, things can happen, right? But as of the injuries that happened last year, those players will be healthy at the beginning of this season. They have upgraded to an offensive coordinator who has proven to produce fantasy points. Now, I will say this, while I am extremely optimistic, we should note that it is entirely possible that Mike McDaniel uses multiple backs, particularly because he loves little speedsters. And Hampton is a much larger back than he's used to working with. But Hampton is a true 3-down back, more than capable of handling checkdowns and actually being very dynamic after the catch. And with a healthy offensive line, there will be ample goal line opportunities, so this is likely a non-issue. Usage of additional backs could theoretically keep him out of top 5 territory, but he is still extremely likely to end up as an RB1 if he plays a full healthy season. Cam Skattebo is actually very straightforward as well. As long as he makes it back from the injury, we will get a full season of him as the RB1. But the difference between him and Quinshon Judkins is that Judkins is very much on track to be ready by week 1. We see it, right? We cannot say the same thing about Skattebo. All things equal, theoretically, the Giants should provide more goal line opportunities than Cleveland, right? Comparing the two situations, unless Deshaun Watson revives suddenly to his Houston version, which I genuinely do not think can happen. But hey, miracles happen. But unlike Judkins, Skattebo isn't on the field right now, and we likely will not see him on the field until July. So there's a big question mark here around his recovery and what version of him we will see in week 1, even if he is actually healthy at that time. But we'll know more, obviously, over the next couple of months. And our sample size, looking back at 2025, just to get a reference point, it was small, right? But it was enough to say that when he's on the field, he can and will give RB1 production. That should happen, right? And the key here for his usage last season, which makes me very encouraged and bullish if he's healthy this season on him, is that his usage in the pass game was great, right? He handled checkdowns and was very productive with them after the catch. And it says a lot. That says a lot, considering that Tyrone Tracy Jr.'s specialty is receiving. He was a converted receiver. So the fact that he was able to get that work over Tracy, perfect, right? So definite candidate to jump into the top 12. Health pending. No, Kenneth Walker has not finished as an RB1. And unlike a player like Bucky Irving, who was literally just 0.3 fantasy points away from being an RB1 in 2024, Walker hasn't been particularly close. His best season was his rookie season, where he did finish as RB16 and half PPR, but he just averaged 12.6 fantasy points per game. That's not RB1 production. And it really was a nasty season for running back production as a whole. So RB16 really was the high end of what that should have been. It's more like low end RB2 production, right? He has yet to have a season with more than 9 total touchdowns. And while he has cracked 1,000 yards, he's just barely scraped by. We have not seen him live up to his actual potential. We've seen pieces, but we haven't seen it combined all in the same season. He has shown that he can handle 200 plus carries in multiple seasons, and the only season he did not was an injury season. We have seen him handle heavy checkdowns. That was 46 receptions on 53 targets in 2024 in just 11 games. Upside is there, people. And now he finally did play an entire 17 game season injury free. Add that all up, and you've got a 3-down back with extremely high upside. We just need to see it all together. And now he's found himself in an excellent situation in Kansas City, the opportunity to be the 3-down back there. I talked about this a lot this offseason as well. I trust Eric Bieniemy as an offensive coordinator in Kansas City specifically. He executes Andy Reid's vision very well, and he's a very good running backs coach. That is his specialty. He will not force a nasty committee. When Isaiah Pacheco thrived, that was under Eric Bieniemy. When Isaiah Pacheco failed, that was under Matt Nagy. The only downside here with Kenneth Walker is that top 5 production probably is not realistic. Mahomes isn't a check down merchant, and he loves to take control in the red zone. Now, we obviously could see that adjust due to coming off of the injury, but really, Mahomes does call his number a lot via the pass and the run. Also, for the downside of realistically not getting massive goal line potential that you would see on another team, there is the benefit there of Mahomes being Mahomes. So that opens up lanes for running backs, and that is ideal for a running back who has been dubbed as a home run hitting back. Open lanes to get off and go. So for what he lacks in overall touchdown upside, like getting to that James Cook level, right, that Christian McCaffrey level, right, he gains in Derrick Henry. Obviously don't want to exclude him too, but he gains in potential massive breakaway runs here. So it's a great opportunity for Kenneth Walker. Now, there is a running back in Washington that has actually finished as an RB1. It's Rachaad White. But if I were to bet on any running back this season being an RB1, it would be Jacory Croskey-Merritt. Now, it's an uphill battle for sure. I'm not going to lie, right? This is not a direct, easy path. Because White is definitely a very reliable back, right? By far, probably the most reliable back on roster right now. But he's not particularly a good running back on the ground. White's RB1 season was 272 highly unproductive carries, boosted by his receiving upside. His job was rightfully promptly stolen by Bucky Irving for very good reason. White is a great blocker, he's a great receiver, but he is just ineffective on the ground. The odds of him being a 3-down back over guys that are genuinely better on the ground is slim, right? So there is still hope for JCM. While an early down committee back is not the ideal recipe for an RB1, we will make an exception for JCM because of his ability to gain yardage in chunks through breakaway runs. A home run hitting back, how many times will I say that in this video? A home run hitting back in that offense, an offense that should bounce back with a healthy Jaden Daniels, can absolutely provide low-end RB1 upside, particularly if the Commanders exercise more caution with Jaden Daniels' carries coming off of the multiple injuries. Croskey-Merritt's metrics look a little bit funky because we have to consider that Daniels missed over half the season. And without him, even kind of with him, low-key, but without him particularly, Washington's offense struggled significantly. However, JCM had very encouraging performances, including a 100-yard, 2-touchdown game against a very tough Chargers defense. When he was an RB1, he was very successful. And he's young enough to argue that he could focus this offseason on improving as a blocker, so there's potential there. He's probably the least likely on this list to finish as an RB1, but the potential exists. At this point, anytime I do a running back video, it's probably going to include a discussion around Bhayshul Tuten. That's either great news or terrible news for our fantasy season. Perhaps he hits and we're all reminiscing at the end of the season saying, oh my God, thank you, Tara, so much for talking about Bhayshul Tuten every single week. Oh God, it's been wonderful. You're the best. We love you. We won all of our leagues, right? That's the perfect scenario. Or we get to the end of the season like, wow, it really was Chris Rodriguez this whole time. But we'll see. All jokes aside, though, I will continue to hitch my wagon to Tuten of all the guys in that backfield, right? And that's for a very valid reason, because between Rodriguez and Tuten, I know one thing 100%. Rodriguez is not catching passes. And we know that even if he is operating as a lead back, there's a certain level of production that he just can't get to, right? Because he's not a home run hitting running back, right? Oh my God, I said it again. He's not a home run hitting running back. Therefore, he requires touchdowns. So realistically, I fully understand who Rodriguez is as a running back. And because I understand that, I know that he can't finish as an RB1, especially in average fantasy points per game, right? But we just haven't seen enough of a sample size to put those kind of labels on Bhayshul Tuten. The most glaring takeaway from last season with Tuten is his red zone efficiency. Tuten had 24 attempts inside the red zone. He converted 5 of those into touchdowns. 4 of those were inside the 5. Very impressive in terms of a conversion rate. That was actually better than Travis Etienne. He also had 2 red zone receptions, converted 2 touchdowns. That level of trust in the red zone as a backup rookie running back is very specific, and it leads me to believe that we should feel very confident heading into 2026, because clearly Liam Cohen felt confident in him last season. The only question that we have is if he can develop as a blocker to secure third downs. We know he can catch, but to what degree would the Jags trust him as a blocker? Yeah, and by the way, for what it's worth, I did not hitch my wagon to Tuten last season. Travis Etienne was my guy, so this is not unbridled love for Tuten. It's just a logical deduction. Now Chuba Hubbard. So I wanted to include him here because we had talked ad nauseum about Jonathan Brooks, who I don't know if qualifies really for this list because he's kind of technically, theoretically, a rookie. He hasn't played much. He's had a total of 9 career carries, so this is brand new territory for him. But all of that we talked about with Jonathan Brooks, that still stands. Not going back on that. It will not take much for him to get on the field and outperform Chuba Hubbard. But therein lies the issue in why Chuba does qualify for still realistically having an RB1 season. Jonathan Brooks has to get on the field and actually stay on it. And that's a difficult bet to make, right? I like Brooks because we know his talent as a prospect. And if he is fully recovered, I do think that he will get a shot. And quite frankly, again, the Panthers literally don't care about giving away a guy's job. They will yank it away with swiftness, a swiftness that I low-key admire. I like that. Yay, Dave Canales on that one. And unfortunately, that makes Chuba very risky because it does not take much, and it will not take much at all. But if Brooks, yet again, can't stay healthy, Chuba Hubbard would be the 3-down back, and we do need to consider that. He would have an uncontested role, and yes, I say uncontested because the only other backs that they have, I was surprised they didn't draft a running back, to be honest. But the only running backs that they have would be A.J. Dillon and Trevor Etienne. Trevor is obviously a small back. And again, I love Etienne. I don't mind small backs, but nothing about Etienne has showed elite quality, unfortunately. So I just don't think he's capable of being a lead back. A.J. Dillon is washed, right? We know that for sure. When it comes to Chuba, we should feel very confident that he would outperform these guys, and we know that he has outperformed Trevor Etienne, right? Chuba did come fairly close to being an RB1 in 2024, and he wasn't exactly working with the creme de la creme of talent. Bryce Young was messy, the offensive line was bad, the receiving weapons were subpar. Now, last season was also ugly, right? He had One rushing touchdown. But we know the Panthers want to lean on the run, so volume would be plentiful for Brooks in theory. Would be plentiful for Chuba Hubbard in theory if Brooks just can't make it. The Panthers continue to add to their offensive line. It will be healthier. They dealt with injury last season, and an improved line will help with efficiency and conversions at the goal line. And as the offense continues to build on itself, there will be more goal line opportunities. I mentioned Bucky Irving earlier. He does qualify for this list, but really and truly, no, he doesn't. That was an RB1 season. His 2024 breakout rookie season was an RB1 season, and quite frankly, we know that it took him about half a season to fully push out Rachaad White. The production as a whole was literally 0.3 away from being an RB1, and if he had just been given that job slightly sooner, it was a clear RB1 season. So now, he's been an RB1 theoretically. He was literally right there. Some other quick notes here. TreVeyon Henderson absolutely has the capabilities to put up RB1 numbers, but I just remain skeptical regarding the clear use of Ramondre Stevenson in critical situations and with blocking. He would naturally require Stevenson to have an injury in order to be a lead back and give that RB1 production. We also talked about DeAndre Swift, who ironically has for as long as he's been in the league and as many times as he's been a lead-ish back, he's never actually had an RB1 season. And Kyle Monangai is there as well. They will continue to operate in a committee. So again, it's important to note that, neither one of them would really have a shot at being an RB1. But if one got injured, that would absolutely happen, right? It would not remain a committee with another back. The one that remained from the one that went down would go down to a single backfield and would have massive upside, right? That same logic applies to a guy like Blake Corum with Kyron Williams. And again, same logic theoretically with Rico Dowdle and Jalen Warren. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can find me across all social media platforms at It's Tara Time. I am also live every Wednesday on YouTube at 8 p.m. EST, so make sure that you stop by and chat. It is always a good time. You can ask me any questions that you want. You can also subscribe to my Substack if you want to support me another way. And if you are looking for new fantasy football tools in 2026, look at Player Profiler. You can use my promo code TARA for 25% off at Player Profiler.